Today, I want to talk to you about grandkids. How do you keep up? Welcome, my name's Zinkiewicz, and I have a talk for you today about how to try and keep up with your grandkids. Now, most of the time, like this picture illustrates, grandparenting is wonderful, okay? On the other hand, sometimes grandparenting is sheer terror. How did that kid get out in the middle of the road, and what on earth is coming at him from around that corner over there, and what are you going to do about it? How did this child get out in the middle of the ocean? Was right here making sandcastles a second ago. How fast can they go? Do you remember the Flash in comic books and on TV? Grandkids are your personal Flash responsibility. Most people I know have a lost and found story that comes out well, but all of them have that same sheer terror involved. You have tried and true methods that you can use. What I'm recommending today is exercise. Now, I started this by talking about when did that get so heavy in the previous talk. And we learned about sarcopenia and how we lose muscle mass. And I gave you some ideas about where to exercise. Today, we're going to talk about how to keep up, how to keep going. 3 tips for you in that regard. The first tip is you're going to have to take charge of that prospect. And there's a couple of things you can do to do that. One is it helps if you make exercise easier than not exercising. Don't let some of the things you do get in the way of your getting out and getting going. For example, here's a rule that we follow. Exercise 6 days a week for the rest of your life. That's a quote from Chris Crowley in his book, Younger Next Year. He actually says do it 7 days a week, but we take a day off. Now, how are rules important? One is if you have a rule and you follow it, it's like stop signs. You don't think about it anymore, you stop. In other words, you don't have to be deciding. The deciding part is not getting in your way of doing it. Makes it easier to get out and get going when the decision is taken away from you. In our conversations around the house, we talk about when are you going to exercise, not if you're going to exercise. Big difference. Use a rule. It'll help you. I also pack my gym bag in the evening before. I don't want anything to get in the way of my getting out the door. And if I have to go find the gym clothes and the socks and all that other stuff, hey, it's getting in the way. So I do it the night before. I'm creating systems in my life that resolve the problem for me rather than me having to decide and do it over and over and over again. It's being systematic will help you get out the door. Another way I'm systematic is to use a calendar. So I put slashes for the days I want to exercise and make them X's on the days that I have. One thing, it offers me a challenge when I see all those slashes. The other thing is when I see all those X's, I don't want to be the one that broke that pattern. Do you? You've done it for how many now? 14 days? Are you going to let yourself down on day 15? Keep a journal of what you're doing so that it encourages you. In other words, make it easier to do. Another thing that you can focus on is improvement, not shortfalls. So for example, if you look in the corner, today I've improved. Now that happened to me yesterday. I was able to increase the elevation on the treadmill and the speed for a set number of minutes. That was an improvement over last time. I feel good about myself. I've improved. I've gotten better over the long haul. Now, if I look that against the business of getting out in the middle of the road and getting my grandson out of the street where I want to go, it may be a long uphill struggle. Which would you do? Rather do? Improvement that you can measure and feel good about, or look forward to a daily uphill struggle? Let's go for improvements. Last but not least, ignore others. When you were younger, you may have gone to the gym just so you could look good and be seen. I know a lot of people don't go to the gym because they don't want to be seen. Forget it. Don't worry about it. They're more worried about what they look like than you are. So ignore them. Go anyway. 3 things then that you can do to keep up and keep going. Second thing is, keep track of where you're going. This shows a watch that you can use to track what you're doing. It'll do steps, it'll do activity levels, some of them will do heart rate monitoring if you need that. There's a whole lot of these things these days. I was an early adapter of that kind of technology, and it's just exploded since. You can buy devices from Fitbit, from Garmin, from Apple, all over the place. You can get them at Target. So, track what you're doing. Now, let me tell you why that's important. The first year I used that device, I improved the number of steps I did on a daily basis by 25%. And I didn't do anything. All I did was look. I didn't set new goals. I didn't try harder. I just looked. It turns out being attentive to what you do helps you do more. Who knew? I think I've spoken about this before, but occasionally I get in a recovery mode. I had knee surgery. This device was absolutely invaluable because I had to do something. I had to achieve a certain level to gain strength and flexibility. But if I did too much, I was less likely to do it again tomorrow because it hurt like heck. So I was able to monitor how many steps do I need to start with, and I know it's going to hurt if I go over that. And so I made that level here, and then it went here, and then it went here, and it was an improvement over time. But it kept me in a range that was not going to endanger my either recovering or not being able to do it. That's how keeping track of what's going on can help you. So you note both the ups and the downs when you're doing it. Now you can do it on paper like it shows here. You can use the device. It'll show you nice graphs. You can print those out. Whatever you want to do that's going to show you those increments of improvement that are going to make you feel good about what you're doing. This is not just about gaining strength. It's about feeling good about yourself. I'm the kind of person that gets up and actually does exercise regularly. Go for it. Last but not least, get a buddy. Now, why is a buddy helpful? Well, for encouragement. And for one important thing, accountability. If you make a play date to go exercise with your buddy, you're much more likely to go because you don't want to let your buddy down. Now, the same thing works if you have a class or if you have a personal trainer. All of them sort of set schedules that you don't want to disappoint, or in the case of a trainer or a class you're actually paying for, you don't want to miss those. So consider who you can take along the journey with you. If you have a system that helps you get started, if you track what you're doing, and you get a companion to encourage you and engage you along the way, you'll be much more likely to go exercise regularly. That will help you keep up with the grandkids. So, if you want to know where to get started with exercise, go look at the other talk I did last time about how did that get so heavy. Take a look at that. It'll give you some great ideas and how to get started there. In the meanwhile, if you want to know more about exercising, good habits, aging, and retirement, come join me at the website. I do 2 tips a week, 2 talks like this one a month, and 1 longer tutorial every month. Come join me. You can find a bright red button or bright purple button. Click that and you can subscribe. YouTube will tell you when the next video is available. You can also go to my website, Retirement Kickstart, sign up for my email, and I'll tell you what videos I've just published. Please join me. Now tell me, what do you do to keep going and keep exercising and keep at it? I'd love to know. I'm sharing tips like that. Yours might be invaluable, so tell me what you're doing.
Did you know I add a new video to the Growing Library every Tuesday and Thursday at 10? This is it. Thanks for coming. I hope you'll come back. These videos will help you find joy, make friends, and keep active.